That song you love is on right now, not later, not on a playlist, not something you have to pay for. I mean live, right now. That's called radio. In Seattle, that's called Warm 106.9.
I came home and I couldn't cry in front of my mom and sister. I came home and I just started crying. And my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, she comes and she hugs me and she goes, I love you. I'm here for you. And that for me is a difference. Now, men, can you be vulnerable with women? Yes and no.
Today on the Glen Gilbert Connection, we welcome Rudy A, breakup and relationship coach, host of the Root Advice podcast, and a voice that has guided thousands through heartbreak and relation challenges. With over 400,000 followers across platforms, Rudy brings raw honesty shaped by his own journey. Married young at 21, divorced after 16 years, and now dedicated to helping men and women rebuild, heal, and thrive. Rudy's insights cut through the noise with practical wisdom, cultural awareness, and a fearless approach to tough conversations. Rudy, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your time.
No, Glenn, thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Tell us a little more about your history and basically how you got to where you are today with coaching.
Sure. I'm 48 years old right now, but I got married at 21, a very young man. I got married to my high school sweetheart. So I learned a lot of lessons in the hard way throughout my marriage, and it ultimately ended because of me in 2016. I was the one who filed. I saw that we weren't going to make any progress. We went to therapy and marriage counseling. None of that worked. So I went ahead and made the decision. Let's go ahead and file. I didn't like the man I was at the time. I didn't like feeling like a failure as a husband, as a man, as a father. I was really in a low place. And I'm like, I'm not going to blame anybody. I'm not going to blame the ex-wife, play the victim. I want to figure out what's going on with me. So I went to therapy and I had about 6 months worth of sessions, about weekly. And at the end of those sessions, I discovered that I had a lot of communication barriers and I was not a great listener and all these other faults in my marriage that completely changed me as an individual. And since then, and having that self-awareness, I've become a better man. Like the ex-wife and I, we have a fantastic relationship now. Like she's remarried, I'm remarried, but we gave our kids, in my opinion, one of the most healthy co-parenting experiences they can see. Of course, you have some bumps in the road, right? You're going to have some arguments here and there, but we made it work. I had a fantastic dating life after my divorce. I was dating like a madman. I was that guy who said I'd never get married, but then, life throws something special at you. And I met my now wife in 2020 during COVID, and we got married last year. So I've always said, I'm sure you can relate. If you're going to listen to somebody, you want to ensure they've been there, they've done that, they failed, and they know what it takes to get back on their feet. That perspective, I think, is invaluable. And I'm here just to help people share my mistakes. Don't do this. Learn from what I did. And things just started rolling then since 2020. So that's how I got here.
Nice. Yeah, 100%. I have a lot of parallels with you. I filed for my divorce. I started looking at my own responsibilities, started taking accountability for what I was doing. And just that little gesture of like, I need to start taking accountability. What could have I done better? That really changed my life for the better. And now I've been together with my girl for about 2 years now, starting a whole new relationship and making it well known. Like if there's something that's on my issue or something, I take 100% accountability for it. Willing to be like, I'm so sorry I didn't communicate that well, that kind of stuff. So I'm with you 100%, man.
Awesome.
So you often share that heartbreak can feel like an identity crisis. How can men begin to rebuild their sense of self after a breakup?
That's really hard. I mean, there's breakups at all points in life. There's like the breakups when you're young or when you're older. For me, getting divorced at 39, right? It's like you do have an identity crisis because you've been with this person your entire adult life. It's like, who the hell are you? There's no honey-do list. There's no kids running upstairs. So it's like, what do you do? And for me, I just went to what I knew. I loved movies. I loved going to see shows. I loved working out. And I just dove into my passions and, just dove into that. And I dove to what made me happy because, again, the reality of life was tough with rebuilding, trying to figure out how things work, developing a new normal. So I said, you know what, I'm going to make time for myself. I'm going to be a little selfish, invest in what I want to do. And, then you go, I had no money as well, right? So I would go to Comic-Cons and work for free as a volunteer person, then work my way up. And before you know it, I'm interviewing Kevin Nash on stage in front of like 500 people. So I'm just saying, whatever brings you joy, whatever brings you happiness, you deserve that. Go out and explore that. A lot of us, after a breakup, maybe you were too consumed in the relationship. Maybe it was exhausting. It took a lot out of us. Maybe our partner just really hurt our self-esteem. We really need to battle through that and go discover our passion. So I tell men, whatever brings you joy, please pursue that because that's the part of rediscovering yourself.
Yes, I would agree with that again, 100%. Creating your own kind of world, and rather than having someone else dictate your world, create your own. Create something that you really enjoy and go forward with that. Yeah, that kind of leads into the next question is like, what is the most common mistakes that you think men make when trying to move on, or how can they avoid them?
The most common mistake I see is men, they tend to shelter themselves. I'm pretty sure maybe you've seen this with other men. It's like during a heartbreaking moment, guys tend to shun themselves away, and guys, friends may not be able to have the ability to talk to them. So most guys will be, hey, he's fine. Just leave him alone. I think isolation is a horrible thing, especially if you're going through something tough. I think community, I think friends is something that you need, people that you can trust. A small circle to get you back up is invaluable. So I tell men, don't shelter yourself. I know you feel bad. I know this hurts, but being alone is possibly the worst thing you can do. So being alone is one thing. The other major problem that I see is the rebound. They find somebody else to help them feel better. And, hey, this is validation. I'm having sex again. Just, this woman's wonderful. I'm forgetting about what really happened. But that's never the solution. That's like a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. I mean, eventually the problems that you had before are going to come and consume the current relationship before you know it. You sabotaged it before you even did anything. So address the problems that are at hand. Take your time, focus. And I encourage guys to learn from your mistakes. That's invaluable. I always say, when you fail, sometimes you win, and you learn a lot about yourself and to become better. So again, take all those low moments and just use that as a springboard to become a better man.
Right. 100%. Yeah. I always thought of it as for me, it was something to where the inputs I was doing was not equating to the outputs I wanted. And that was really a really tough pill to swallow. It's like, well, I'm doing this and I feel like it's right. And I think it's right. But why does this and this keep happening to me? That kind of stuff. And it's, kind of going into, I think, what a community of like-minded individuals. I think for guys, it's really helpful to have a bunch of guys around to start going like, hey, bro, what you did before in your previous relationship, you're starting to do again. And you might duplicate yourself as far as outcomes again, man. Hey, just calling you out, bro. Rather than going, you're fine. That kind of stuff. Yeah.
But the community, if you don't mind me to add,
of course,
it's very important, I think, for young men to select the right community because you're in a vulnerable state right now, maybe very subjective to advice. You want the right people around you. You don't want toxic advice. You don't want people enabling, toxic behavior. Like, hey, the only way to get over one woman is to get on top of another. We don't need that. So don't be doing shit like that. So I'm sorry, can I curse on this?
You can do whatever you want. Man.
Thanks, man. Thanks. So you want to be sure you're surrounding yourself with right-minded individuals who are looking out for your best interest and truly care about you and are going to call you out when you do mess up, like you just said. So the right community is invaluable.
What do you think? How does a guy, in general, us guys are like not into socializing. I mean, it's really minimal, right? We have maybe less, like 2 or 3 guys we want to hang out with, especially getting up in years. We don't have many guys to hang out with. What do you think is a good way of building a community? I mean, of guys that you could trust to open up to.
It's really tough for men as well because the friends that you have may be still married, and we all have had that encounter where the wives of your friends don't want them hanging around with you because now you're single out the bars, and they don't want that infection or that bad juju, as some people call it, to infect their marriage. Like, I don't want you getting any ideas by hanging around with Rudy and those women. So you may not even have friends. So for me, again, just to share like a personal story, I had nobody. The ex-wife, I forgave her after this, but she went on a smear campaign and just told everybody her side while I was kind of the quiet one. I felt it was nobody's business. So I was vilified and I had nobody. And there were days I was like, I didn't know what to do with myself. I had a period of days where I was like, would cry at home, and I would go to grocery stores with no money and just get a shopping cart and just walk the aisles because I didn't know how to be alone. I was just, as long as I'm around people, I should be fine. But eventually I just started going places. Like I would go to a bar and just sit and just not to drink and get wasted, but to watch a game or something. And then before you know it, an old friend that I hadn't seen in 10, 15 years shows up, and then they know people. Hey, can I go hang with you? Oh, sure. Then you go meet people. So strike a conversation with somebody. I just kind of went out there and just introduced myself because I think a lot of people going through divorce, if you've been married a long time, I had a great amount of joy introducing myself because I was finally, hey, hi, I'm Rudy. I'm not, hi, I'm Rudy, and this is my wife, so-and-so. This is, hi, I'm Rudy. It's a wonderful feeling to like build a new brand because you're ashamed in some sense of what had happened. you want to move on from that. So for me, moving out and introducing people to the new me was very infectious and a lot of fun for me. So building a new brand, before you know it, you meet new people, you meet new friends, and things happen. And that's the only way you're going to move on, is you got to go out there sometimes and meet people.
Yeah, it's kind of tough at first, but the more you start going out there and you start doing it, I was starting to go to like higher end steakhouses and just chilling at the bar and making friends with the bartender and chatting it up. And then, one of their friends would come in, or another patron would come in, and it's just like, hey, just chatting it up. Same kind of thing. Introduce yourself. And then you're like, that was kind of energetic. That was kind of cool. And then that gets infectious. And then you kind of start doing some other stuff. I always say something like fundraisers are kind of a cool place to meet people too. A few different things. How do you think women can support a guy who might be struggling emotionally after a breakup?
Oh, I saw that question. And that's a tough one. And honestly, I'm going to say don't do that. The reason I'm saying that, I have nothing against women. I love women. Right. But a guy going through a breakup may find some sort of like a connection that isn't there, and maybe develop feelings for that woman. Because I'm a firm believer that majority of the time, men and women can be friends. Some cases, sure. But for the most part, no. But if a guy's vulnerable, seeking, answers, and he finds a woman who's just there, I think that can maybe complicate things in that vulnerable state. Yeah. So maybe I really don't know how to answer that question, but I would say no, don't do that. Because again, it can maybe just confuse items. Yeah, definitely. Especially if the guy doesn't have, for lack of a better term, an abundance of female friends. Yeah. If you really don't have an abundance of female friends, it's probably follow Rudy's advice here, everybody. don't start trying to make a female friend right after a breakup if you already don't have like 50 or 100 or even 10 or a dozen female friends already. It's gonna send the wrong signal. You're, like you were just saying, you're in a state of vulnerability. Any little signal of like, hey man, it's going to be okay, can be misinterpreted. Yeah, it's probably best to focus on doing what you need to do to get back out there, go to the gym, make some friends at a high-end steakhouse. I mean, whatever you need to do. Go to the fundraiser, just make some connections. But yeah, try not to. Yeah, I would agree with you 100%. I've heard there's been a lot of guys, coaches and clients of mine, and I didn't suggest this. They told me they joined like a mixed martial arts class. Yes. And that not only is that healthy, but it builds community. You learn them, through trial and error, and everybody's kind of rooting for you to improve and move on. Right. So, and you're doing great things for your health, mental health, things like that. You're building community and friends. So something like that, maybe a team sport, maybe if you were a great baseball player, softball player, join that group, do something. Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. Again, 100%. We're agreeing a lot here. What's that? We're agreeing a lot here. I like that. Yeah, we're on the same plane. Like the mixed martial arts, or some type of, something to get out a guy's aggression. And we're full of testosterone. We need to do something with that. And when you're frustrated or when you're upset, or, you need that kind of challenge to get out any kind of anxiety or angst or frustrations or any kind of thing to start doing something like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Muay Thai, or just something to get that energy out and have that competitive spirit kind of being taken out on a mat is always a bonus. And then I think what happens is, I started taking jiu-jitsu, and what started happening is a lot of the stressors, I would get stressed out at work, or if I'm meeting someone new, all of those kind of started subsiding, as far as that's great anxiety and all of the, nervousness of all that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, I just had somebody just knock the crap out of me in jiu-jitsu. Meeting this girl is going to be like nothing. This is no big deal. Yeah. I had some 21-year-old put me in a chokehold. And oh my God. Yeah, I was like, all right, I got a lot to learn here. But like, they don't have like a 48 and up range group class, because that seems like a mismatch there. Yeah, they do. But it was one of those things where it's like, okay, this guy's here and stand in the line, and we're going to just meet up and just kind of go. And this guy's going to stay here and try and take you down. And then you just kind of keep going in this line. And I was like, oh, hey, bro. And he was like, come on. And I was supposed to get in a position, and he just, within like 5 seconds, he was choking me out. And I'm like, okay, simmer down, dude. I'm still new at this. Simmer down. You win. I get it. You're a stud. Yeah.
So you spoke about lessons learned from marrying young and divorcing after 16 years. What wisdom do you wish you had at 21 that men today should hear?
Oh my God. That's a great question. For me, I completely wasn't aware of what a husband is supposed to be at 21. I don't think anybody does. I got married. I did truly love my ex-wife. She was my first love, my first high school, everything. We were culturally kind of like pressured to do it. We don't regret getting married at all, but we both agreed, even today that we know we should have waited a little bit more. So I would tell young men, if cultural, archaic stigmas are telling you have to do it, I say, you go when you want to. There's no pressure. There's no timeline to have to do this. A lot of us, in my opinion, after speaking to thousands of people, I think many of us aren't cut out to be married, marriage material. I think only a small percentage of us are actually marriage material, to be honest. And also, if you truly want to know the person you're marrying, this is invaluable in my opinion. If you want to know who's in front of you, see them at their worst. Like, how do they act when things don't go their way? When you tell them no, when there's no money, something goes wrong around the house. Because life is going to be a lot of events of just pressure, unexpected things that are going to happen. And you want somebody next to you who's going to be working with you as a teammate, getting solutions versus attacking you, imploding, or maybe going fight or flight and just taking off and leaving you. Because stress will always indicate the true person that you're looking at. And I would be very certain that you see who you are and you are 100% confident that you can count on this person when times are tough, because you will have some tough times that you think, if I'm smart enough and make all the right decisions, it's going to go perfectly fine. No, I'm here. We're both here as older men saying, no. Life's going to come randomly every now and then and punch you right in the nose. And you want to be sure that you have somebody next to you who's going to add to the situation, not make it worse. Yeah.
There's a great quote by Churchill. Success is not final and failure is not fatal. Yeah. And I think it is what you're saying is extremely important to think of. Happiness is not a constant. Sadness and failure is not a constant. These things ebb and flow. They're gonna happen. I hear a lot of women saying, I just want to be happy. Just want to be happy. And I always suggest that's not a constant state of mind. You have to be aware of things. Bad things can happen. Someone can lose a job. A family member could get hurt, pass away. Somebody could get hurt. I mean, there's a ton of things that can happen.
Car accident, cancer. I mean, something, a sick in-law, they have to move in with us. Like what? Things like that. So
yes. I mean, life happens. And that's a great point of like, how prepared are you for life? Are you prepared for the bad and the ugly? Are you prepared for, the valleys and the dips and things that are going to, to come or might possibly come? Or are you just wanting to be like in a state of, I just need to always be happy and you need to make me happy and nothing ever is going to go wrong, that kind of, thing.
Yeah. If I can add one other thing, it's, I think a lot of people truly, I have an opinion. It's a hot take is I don't think anybody should be getting married between 18 and 28. I know I have a lot of some groups online that say that's idiocy. You should get married young. But in my opinion, I think you just left your mom's house at 18, maybe, right? Maybe you're going to college. I tell every individual, especially every young man, to go explore the world. And I'm not talking being promiscuous. I'm talking about going out there and figuring out who the hell you are. I mean, who's your identity? If you take your girlfriend away, right, or your wife away, who are you, right? What are you into? Figure that out, because life can get so busy, so chaotic. And, once you have a family and kids, you're going to be working all the time. You're going to have very limited time to explore who you are. And I hope you're not working a job you hate, because then it's going to be insufferable. So you owe it to yourself as an individual to say, you know what, I'm not saying no to marriage, but I just want to be me for a little bit. I want to go out and live my own and figure out who I am, what I like. Maybe I'll be into something that I didn't know existed. But you owe that to yourself, in my opinion. And I think when people walk into a marriage knowing completely who they are, they're happy with themselves, they have self-respect, self-love, they know what they can handle, what they can take. I think that makes you an invaluable person coming into a marriage, because you're established already. You're not dependent on somebody else to make you happy. You know how to function, and you're finding somebody who's going to kind of meet you halfway in that space. So I think you owe it to yourself. If your friends are getting married and everybody else is getting married, so what? Let them. Don't think like you're a loser because you're not engaged. Go live life and focus on you.
Yes. Yeah. Don't let those societal pressures of, hey, you're 21 now, you should be married. I would disagree with that as well.
Yeah.
I think kind of what you said is getting to know yourself. I would highly suggest young people, late teens, early 20s, whatever, if you have the opportunity and if you have a couple of friends, travel the world, understand different cultures, meet new people. And I think what that does for a person is they start setting up their boundaries. And it prepares you for that relationship down the road, because you're like, okay, this has happened to me, and this is what I'm cool with. This is what I'm not cool with. And I've met a whole plethora of people in my travels, and I see all these different personality types. And I really like this one, and I know I don't want to. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't do well with this person. I would clash with this personality type. I think it really provides a sense of self-worth and boundaries to really get those things solidified when you start looking into, hey, I'm in my late 20s, early 30s. I've developed a career. I'm doing well. I'm looking for a spouse, a partner to settle down with, have children, all that kind of good stuff. You have those boundaries and who you are kind of set in stone by that point, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So in your view, what are the top 3 signs a relationship is worth fighting for or versus letting go?
Well, I'll say this, the letting go piece, if you've exhausted every option to try to save it, and I'm talking like you're suggesting therapy, you're wanting to make things better, because for those who don't know, I mean, a relationship, you're going to go through some evolution. You're going to change. People change throughout the marriage, and communication styles may change. So you can't go into a marriage or relationship expecting it's going to be the same all the time, exactly the way it was. It's not. And I think if you're at a point where you're so different, you're over here trying to fight and save it, and over here, your partner, spouse, whoever, is just unwilling to meet you halfway. They don't want to go to therapy. They're telling you, you're the crazy one, not me. Why should I go to therapy? You're the one with the problems. You're the one acting like your mom or dad or whatever the case is. If they're the ones who are just hell bent on not meeting you halfway, they're set in their ways. What they're leaving you no choice. I mean, they're telling you up front, hey, this is who I am. This is who you got to deal with. Either stay or go. That's more or less what they're saying, if they're not really to meet you halfway. So I would say when you've explored every option and they're still at that state, not wanting to make it work, then leave. In that way, you'll have the peace of mind after the fact, like, I should have stayed. I should have done that. No, you tried everything. And they were stubborn. They didn't want to meet you halfway. On the caveat to that, something worth saving, I think if there's love and respect and you have somebody, maybe you're not communicating well, but you can see the effort and they love you and they're willing to go to therapy, compromise, listen to you, and, whatever concerns you have regarding the relationship, they're listening, not gaslighting you. And they're coming back and saying, thank you for letting me know. I'll change. I'll meet you there. I think that's a blessing if you have that, because not many people have that. There's people that are begging and praying that their spouse one day turns around and wakes up. I'm going to change, honey. I'm going to go to therapy. I'm going to meet you halfway. And then that never happens. So if you've got that, there's still a chance.
Yes. There's a lot to be said about listening, and not just listening, accepting of what they are saying to you, or like, this is how I'm feeling, or this is what's going on with me, or this is part of my past, or what I had to deal with as a little kid. This is who I, blah, blah, blah. If those things are not heard and digested and respected, it's really tough to move on. And I think you also made a really good point about people will change. Like if you're in your 20s, or, you get married at 25, you're probably not going to be the same person at 35, right? Scott Galloway just has this, put out a book recently, and he talked about how he married young. I think they had a child. I think he got married in his mid-20s. And by the time he was in his mid-30s, he was like, and they were in therapy, by the way. This is to the therapist. He's like, I don't love her anymore. And he's like, I crushed her. I just hurt her really bad at that point. And obviously ended up getting divorced, and he got remarried, had a couple kids, a whole bit. But one of his points obviously was, I changed. Over those 10 years, I became a different person. I was not who I was when I first married her. I fell out of love. And so just having that in mind, like, hey, I'm going to probably be going through some changes. There's going to, new career, new opportunities, things might come up. Are we prepared? I mean, it's just having a realistic discussion of like, things might happen. Are we going to be able to handle that together? And I think that's also has to do with finances too. Having a really mature talk about how are we going to set up finances, because for young people, it's like you married at a young age, say in your 20s. You're like, well, how about if we end up creating some app and we become millionaires, what are we going to do with the money? It's like just kind of preparing for your career as it develops and grows. Are you both on the same page? And, are you going to be able to say in like 5 years, where are we at? And all those kinds of things. Are just having the very open and honest and that adult discussion, I think is going to go a long way.
Yeah. If I can add, like my marriage ended for a number of reasons, but one of the key reasons was finances. And one thing that as young and naive as we were, you're trying to keep up with your other friends, the Joneses, as they say, like maybe you have some friends of yours. It's funny how like in your 20s, you have a pocket of friends. And once one gets married, it's kind of like a crescendo of like everybody else getting married. And then everyone's kind of having kids and then buying a house and going on trips. And it's like, well, we got to keep up with them. And that's how stupid we were. So we started buying a house, getting into debt. Then you buy a house and there's all this empty space. So what do? We need furniture. Let's go to Kirkland's and put everything on the card. And then you get 2 cars and things like that. Before you know it, you have everything that you think you're supposed to have to be happy. But now you're house poor and you can't go anywhere. you can't even go out to dinner. Go on date nights. We have no fucking money.
Yeah. Our budget is blown last year. We're still playing catch up. Yeah.
And we had no idea how much the central air will cost per month. Just little naive things that as an adult you laugh at, as a kid you had no idea. So don't get into debt. Take your time. You mean
there's no white picket fence that's given to you upon the marriage license certificate signing? They don't give you a house. Stop it. Just stop it. Yeah, I had a similar awakening. It's like, oh my gosh. I mean, aren't people supposed to give us these things for free? Like a house and a car and a dog? What is going on? I have to pay for this? Whoa. Yeah. Yeah. Just the little things where it's like, oh, these are responsibilities. This is what an adult life is like. Oh.
Yeah. Pets have insurance? What?
What? Stop that.
Seriously? I don't even have insurance. Like, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Grocery shopping? What is happening here?
Yeah. There's so much that comes around. So again, like I said, you want to ensure you have the right partner who's going to work with you and not belittle you if you didn't know anything or just make the situation worse.
Right. Are they going to be there to basically provide a helping hand when it gets bad, or is it going to be something where they're going to walk away?
Yeah.
And I always kind of add to that, like, look at actions. For both men and women, look at actions over words. Everyone can say the sweetest, nicest things. I think it was Bruce Lee that said it's called spelling for a reason because it casts spells. I'm paraphrasing, but it's basically what he was saying. And so it's like words can cast spell, and it's like very easy to get sucked in. And I think women especially are very vulnerable. Guys are too, but you say the right flowery things to women, they're like, oh my gosh, that sounds great. But then, the actions come back as, well, that doesn't match what you said. And well, you said you promised this and this, or you said you were going to do that and that, but your actions are completely different. But you keep saying the right things to me, which I really like to hear. Got to be very, very cognizant and be very aware of what person is doing and, how are they doing these things versus just what they're telling you.
Promises don't mean a damn thing. It's actions and change.
Yeah, 100%. So how would you think that how should men balance vulnerability with strength in relationships, especially with cultural narratives that are often discouraging emotional openness?
That is a good one. And if you don't mind, can I answer with a little story?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. Back when I was single, I was dating, like I said, like a madman. I dated a few baddies, as the kids call it, right? 10s, whatever. Baddies. So yeah, this woman was absolutely stunning. And this is 2018. And my dad had some health problems. This is before he passed. And he had a heart attack and then went into a coma suddenly. We're like, I was like, oh my God, and this is like on a Friday. And I had planned this huge weekend, trip to Austin with this woman, the spoiler, because when you date a baddie, every weekend's got to be an adventure, all that bullshit. So, here I am, like, planned this whole thing. And then I found the news out on Friday, and then I call her and I was like really sad. I go, look, this just happened. My dad had a coma. I'm really in a bad place. I know we had this weekend planned, but I can't. My dad needs me, and I'm going to go to the hospital. I would love to see you here when I get back. I need my woman right now, is what I said. And she got quiet, and I'm like, hello. She's like, You know what? That's too much drama for me this weekend. You know what? I hate to get all involved in that because what about me? I've had a tough week as well. I deserve to decompress. So you know what? I'm going to go out with so-and-so, and then afterwards I'm going to go to your place. Okay. But no, I need my fun. I'm sorry you're going through what you're going through. That's not my problem, but I'm going to go have my fun. And I was like, oh my God.
That's a keeper there, Rudy. Come on.
Yeah. Of course we broke up after that, but I was like, oh my God, I'll never be vulnerable again. And then 2020, my dad passes, and of course, that's a horrible moment.
Yeah,
and I'm dating thank you I appreciate that. And I'm, that she was my girlfriend, but now my wife at the time. But I remember just having to be the man of the house now for all my family. My mom was inconsolable, so I'm taking care of all the arrangements and things like that. The funeral, I don't know if you plan one, it's like a mess. What font would you like on the brochure? I'm like, I don't care, Arial. It's just, just things like that. So I was a mess, and I came home and I couldn't cry in front of my mom and sister. I came home and I just started crying. And my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, she comes and she hugs me and she goes, I love you. I'm here for you. And that
amazing
for me is a difference. Now, men, can you be vulnerable with women? Yes and no. I wouldn't suggest young men to share their vulnerabilities early on with somebody that you just met, because then you may be asking for questions on how to solve those problems. And they're not they're therapists. They're not there to solve your problems, right? So I would be very cautious at the very beginning. But once you've established a healthy relationship, where I'm talking, you've experienced some, low moments, some hard moments, some life moments, and they've been there and they've proven to you, hey, when times get tough, I'm going to be there next to you, right? I think once they've proven yourself, then you can start opening up a little bit. I don't like the narrative where men can never talk to their woman about bad things. They need to talk to their friends and such like that. I agree with that to an extent. I think guys do need a brotherhood of guys that you can count on. But, if you're going to go ask for advice, you want to ensure you're asking the right person. If the person you're asking has never had a healthy relationship in their life, why the am I going to confide to you and ask you for advice? So you want to be sure who you confide in. But if you have a strong relationship, a close one with somebody that you've been through a lot of things with and you trust them, then it's okay. But early on, I'd be cautious of that.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to go on the first date and go, yeah, this is my therapist's name, and these are the things we're discussing today.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do too much on the first date. It might be worthwhile to wait a little while until at least you're serious. And even then, it's like if something comes up, you can just keep it this is what I'm working on, and just kind of just leave it at that. And then, like you said, if something comes up, like a family member passing away, that's heavy. And if the one you're with, if your significant other is going to be, hey, whatever you need, I'm here for you, that speaks volumes. And then they show up, they hug you, and they're there for you. And then if they check on you, I mean, when I was going through my divorce and I was just struggling, my buddy was just calling me. He's like, hey man, just seeing if you're around, just seeing what's going on. Just seeing, what's happening. He would just check on me every once in a while because I was in such a bad state. And my girl now does that every once in a while. I'll be like upset about stuff with the fam. I do the bad habit. I have a bad habit of withdrawing. Yeah. But I've started really working on that. And she's like, you're doing great with this withdrawing stuff. But she knows when I start getting in that mindset, she'll be like, hey, come on, let's go do. Come on, let's go do something. I know you're doing what's. Come on. Let's move on. So that's how you can really tell if someone is going to support you or if it's just going to be, a fun time versus a long time type of thing.
Yeah. And I would advise guys like, be that good friend. Like, if one of your buddies is having a really tough time right now, they're going through a divorce or a breakup, don't be that friend that texts them or calls them and just says, hey, if you need anything, let me know. I want you to be that friend that says, hey, get dressed. I'm going to take you to Hooters and we're going to have some wings. The Spurs are playing the Celtics tonight. We're going to have a good time. It's on me. Yes. Be that friend. Go get their ass out of the house, because whether they want to admit it or not, they may say they don't want to go, but deep down, they need it and they know it. Oh yeah. Yeah. I've got a buddy back in Colorado, and we talk every once in a while. And whenever he's going through a lot with him in his relationship, and I'm like, hey man, you ever want to come out and watch football or just hang out in Seattle? Hey, just come on. I don't care if you show up in the middle of the night, just knock on the door. You got a place to stay. Not a problem. I don't care. Just come on over. Yeah. Nice. Definitely. So if Rudy's insights are resonating with you, don't just listen, take action. Subscribe to the Glen Gilbert Connection wherever you get your podcasts, and share this episode with someone who needs encouragement.
And if you're ready to dive deeper, check out Rudy's Root Advice podcast and his coaching resources to start your own journey of healing and growth. Let's continue. So Rudy, evolutionary psychology suggests men and women have different mating strategies. How do you see these differences playing out in modern dating?
I think I have an answer for that, but can you give me an example, like what you've seen as far as mating strategies? I think I know the answer, but I just wanted some clarification.
Yeah, I guess to put it something in context, if a guy's just getting out there for the first time after being in a long relationship, let's say he was in a 10-year marriage and just, inked the divorce. He's like, I'm holding off, got the divorce inked, it's been filed, and I really want to start dating again. This person, like he got married, maybe 2015, dating apps were coming out, I guess, the whole internet stuff. And for me, it was something of learning how dating apps work now. I would be like, don't do that. Don't do that disservice to yourself, bro, as far as getting on a dating app, because you're going to meet someone. I mean, unless you're looking for like a fun time, it's probably not good for a long time. And if you're looking for a fun time, sure. I mean, yeah, but the odds are stacked against you. So if it's like, hey, I'm going to meet somebody and then I'm going to go take them out to dinner and then we'll see if, we want to do drinks and make this big deal about on a first date. The guy's like, oh, I got to spend all this money and really show her up. And, maybe I got to get a really nice car before I can start dating again. And, it's got to be a dinner at a nice steakhouse. And, I've got to, afterwards we got to plan for this and this and making a big hoopla over like date one. And then for women, it's like, and I'm not saying on this all women, but I hear this generalization of like, well, how much money does he make? Yeah. I'm not going to date him unless he's like making a bunch of cash, and he's got to make as much or more than I am. And as we know, it's like around 60% of college graduates are women now. Mm-hmm. And, they're all like, they got to make just as much as I'm making or more. And it's like, well, you've earned yourself out of this pool of men that might have potential. And that pool of guys is now shrunk because college graduates or higher, it's going to be a smaller and smaller number. It's going to be a smaller and smaller number of guys that might be making just as much or more than you. And we're not even talking about, are they fit? Do they have a good personality? Are they good looking? Are they within your age range? Yeah. So
that type of thing. Okay. Well, I like to answer questions.
The long explanation of it.
But I needed that. So thank you. So So to answer that question, I'd like to share like my experience as well. Because again, I got married in 1999. Mm-hmm. And then here I am in 2016 about to go out into the date. And I hadn't dated since the 90s, right? And I go out there and it's completely changed. I say this all the time. The biggest culture shock for me was how sexually aggressive women were. I was like, what? Mm-hmm. Right now? I just picked you up. like, do you want Roadhead? Wow. I'm like, now? I mean, sure. I mean, we're going to go see John Wick 2. You want right now? Okay, sure. Why not? So there's things like that shocked the hell out of me. Mm-hmm. And I am not lying. And for me, like I said, I went to a therapist before my divorce was finalized. So I was in a good place. Mm-hmm. And I think if anybody's going to go out there and date, especially I'm talking to the young men right now, I want you to know what you want. What do you want to do? Mm-hmm. Do you want a date to marry? Do you want something serious, or you just want to go have fun? So be honest with yourself. If you're playing a charade or charade, whatever, women are going to be able to tell. Women can sense if you're not being truthful with them. So I'm just going to say, be honest with what you're looking for. And if you're going to go out there, be sure you're in a good place. Like you're not coming off needy. You're not still hung up on your ex. You're comfortable in your own skin, because I think that screams confidence. And when you are, you don't, in my opinion, you don't have to be 6 foot. I mean, there's only a small percentage of guys that are. I have a dad bod. And I was fine. Mm-hmm. I think charisma, charm, confidence, and just being a very, a great conversationalist goes a long way for anybody. So again, know who you are, be sure you're healed, and go out there. I want you not to have expectations, because I think a lot of guys, as you just said in that story, they put too much in the first date. And I think they're more or less going through like analysis paralysis. I'm saying be in the moment. Don't think if you're going to hook up after the date. Don't think about, is this going to be my future wife? Just go in there and have fun. Make sure the dates are fun, because that's another thing. There's so much hoopla with dating and like it's horrible. Just go have fun. That's what dating's supposed to be. Make sure the woman you're with is laughing. She's got tacos in her mouth and, a couple of drinks, and just make her feel safe. Just have a great time and just be comfortable. And the more
Yes.
relaxed you are, the better off you be. That was my success. And
Yes.
a number of women, I remember hearing this for the first time. You make me feel safe, Rudy. I'm like, what the hell what do you mean safe? Because
Right.
I thought, did you feel like you're in danger? She says, no. Let me explain. She goes, there's a lot of women out there when we go on dates. There's guys that expect us to give them sex if they buy us a drink or food. Here, I'm not sensing any of that with you. You speak highly of your ex-wife. You know, you're in a good place. You wish her the best. There's no baby mama drama. And I feel that you're honest. So I feel very safe with you. And that means a lot to me as a woman. And I'm like, wow, I've never heard, again, because I hadn't dated. I go, I've never heard that before. And I heard that all the time. So the better space you're in, people will feel that. Yes. And I think that energy that you're giving off, because it's positive and it's outgoing, people prefer that versus the angry, the bitter guy who hates women. My wife me over and took half my 401k, this and that. Okay, that sucks. I get it. But don't carry that to the world, man. Because people can sense that. And then when you drink, it's going to get amplified. Come on, man. So be sure you're in a good place is what I'm saying. And then, of course, no expectations and be sure you're having fun. That would be my advice.
That frustration, that anger, all that kind of stuff, really, you're absolutely right, will come out during that first date. If you haven't gotten that taken care of or where you're at peace with that, it's not good. And again, it kind of goes back to what we discussed before, is creating your own world that you enjoy. And if you want to bring somebody else into it, cool. And if they enjoy it too, you guys can feed off of that. But at least be ready for that. Don't just jump into that looking for someone that's going to replace the old for the new, because nothing is going to be different. You're just going to fall right back into the old habits you were,
Can I add to the dating apps? Because you say, why don't you like dating apps if you don't mind me asking?
So for the most part, to start out, unless you're really good looking or have like a really good profile of like really cool photos and you have a world that's really interesting and fun and people want to join up, you're stacked. The odds are stacked against you. It's 3-1, 4-1, 5-1 guys to gals. You're not going to impress most women. You're not going to impress most women with a fish pic. They're going to be like, that's nice, but unless we're starving and it's the apocalypse, what else are you going to do? Yeah. And for most guys are, average. They're not the top 20%. They're not making over like 100,000 a year. Most people don't make that much. And it's just, if you're not doing something with yourself, if you're not creating a cool, fun world, if you're like, I'm doing okay, but I don't dress well, I don't take good pictures. I mean, all of this stuff is going to impact your profile. And if your profile is not top, she's going to swipe on you because she's got 4 or 5 or 6 more times number of options than you will on the app. It's kind of like I picture it as, and I think this is for men and women. If well, maybe not men, but if a woman is like walks into a room and there's 100 guys in there and she's like, I get to pick who I want to hang out with, she's going to pick the cream of the crop. Yeah. And it's like everyone else is going to be like, and then I would think the same thing for guys. It's like if you walk into a room of 100 women, you're going to, most guys are going to sleep with anything. It's like, oh my gosh, sex, sweet. Yeah. But, after that, you're like, okay, I've had this dessert over and over again. I'm kind of used to it. So I want to have the best part of the dessert. I think most people will go for the cream of the crop if they are given that selection of like, 2 to 3 or 4 more times. Like, I've had women tell me like, they've opened up the app, like they go to New York or wherever, and they open up the app and they've got like 1,000 likes or something, like just something crazy. And they're like, yeah, my finger hurts from swiping left, or, I'm like so tired. And maybe one person swipes right. There's something about the stats that for every 1,000 swipes, maybe the guy might get one, one hit, and that coffee date may not even go through. It's just the odds are really stacked against men in apps. It's not saying it's the worst thing in the world, but unless you've got your together, unless you can have impressive photos and present yourself well and stand out from all of the other guys that are trying to get this one woman, it's going to be really tough. Okay. Go to the bar, or if you don't drink, just have a club soda, have a nice steak dinner, chat it up with the bartender, go to a fundraiser, get to know people there, have a couple friends, and then if you need to go to a nightclub or whatever, just start chatting it up with the bouncers, get to know people that way. The app is almost like one of those, it's a cope, it's a buffer, if you will, to prevent you from going out. You're like, oh, this is so easy. Oh, this is so convenient. But then you're going to be like, I'm not getting any hits. No one's liking me. No one's reaching out.
If I can counter with that,
yeah,
I had great success with apps. And again, I want to be clear. I'm 5'9".
You stud.
Yeah, I'm 5'9". Dad bod. At the time, I wasn't making six figures. I was recovering from a divorce. But I was working at a company where there's like tons of women, and a lot of women were single, and some of them were my friends. I'm like, hey, real quick, what do y'all look for in dating apps? Like, what stands out? And they go, well, Rudy, we love smiles. We love a good smile. And I had just got my Invisalign like removed, so everyone was complimenting my smile. I'm like, okay, I'm going to smile. Look for pictures where I'm smiling. Good, smile. Nice. What else? Check the backgrounds. Women are like Batman, so if you have anything in the background that's messy or anything, we're going to catch that. So be cognizant of the background. I'm like, oh, backgrounds. Okay, very good. So there, and I go, what else? Do y'all read the bio? Oh yeah. Yeah. And if there's any misspelled words or like grammar, blah, 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 that kind of is like a big turnoff. If he doesn't know the difference between your and you are, that's a big turnoff. I'm like, hey, that's kind of silly, but I understand. Okay. So thank you for that. So then I went, I'm like, okay, what is me? I love movies, obviously. Right. So there's tons of movies back there. So you know what? I'm not going to get the girl who likes the Fast and the Furious cars, or the girl who wants to go jet setting to, Kokomo. That's not me. I'm going to go for the movie girl. So every movie, every photo that I posted, it was like a selfie of me with movie posters in the background, which were my favorites. Or I had a shirt that said like Beetlejuice, 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 something like that. So every picture that I had was me smiling, or at the theater or at a concert with a U2 shirt. More or less, it was a visual story of who I was without saying a damn word. And I was very particular with what I had in the background. And in my bio, I go, let me just get them a sense of my sense of humor, right? In my bio, I was just saying who I was, being honest. And I go, fun fact about me, I once lived in a town that outlawed rock and roll music. And after much adversity, I was able to get the town to pass a law. We threw the first dance at this town. And that's the plot to Footloose. But some got that. So I would get messages like, hey, that's Footloose. And I'm like, yes, thank you. Hey, what's your name? So I purposely targeted women who loved movies. Yes. That was my shtick. And I'm telling everybody, if you love motorcycles, traveling, something, whatever's you, have that story behind you, and be sure you're smiling and you're radiating positivity. Yes.
Couple observations. First of all, you had a bunch of female friends to help you, which is brilliant. I mean, you're already ahead of the game. Second, what you did is, and again, these are observations. I could be completely off, but what I really like is like you had your world. You're like, this is what I love to do. I enjoy this a lot. Because see me smiling and look at the background and see I'm at a concert, or I'm at a movie theater. I'm doing this. I'm interviewing. Who did you say?
Kevin Nash. I'll send you that clip if you want. It's pretty cool. It went viral. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'd love to see that. But this is your world. And you're like, hey, if you want to come in, hit me up. Because this is what I'm doing all the time.
Exactly.
Love it. So you've created this world. You've had friends that are looking out for you. Be like, try not to misspell words in your bio. So you had a support group. It was great. So you already started all of these things before you even posted anything.
Yep.
And what else? The words, the background, your bio, female friends already.
Yeah.
That you're ahead of the game already. You're in the top 20, if not the top 10 already. You had, the pictures, the bio, you had, this is my world. It's super fun, super important. All that stuff.
You want to show that you're established. And again, to be quite honest, I didn't need anybody to make me happy, because I loved my life. I love what I was doing, and hell, I wanted to go have fun, right? So let's go have fun and have date. But if you say no, fine, I'm just going to go on to the next. I wasn't needy. Yeah.
Yes. So important. That's another great suggestion. It's like, you've already got things figured out. I've gone to therapy. I understand what I did wrong. I'm working on that. I've done that. I've done the work on myself. Yeah. This is my world. This is what I started doing, and I'm having a blast. And here's actual visual proof of me just having a blast. Exactly. And you want to join me in having a blast? Hit me up. That is awesome. That's incredible. But it's also like you're in the top 20%, 10%, 5% of guys that are actually doing that. It's not common. And a lot of guys, even coming out of long-term relationships, probably aren't aware of, oh, that's a great idea. Oh, that's a great idea. It's like, have something that you really enjoy doing and having a great time, and just invite somebody, hey, if you want to join me, come on in. If you don't, not a problem. Hey, I like going to this restaurant and eating this dessert, and you want to join me? Come on. And if not, hey, that's not a problem. I'm still going to go eat it,
Here's another thing. And again, I was so desperate for knowledge after the fact. I would go to clubs because I used to love dancing, but I hadn't danced in years. So I went to a club and I'm watching people dance, and I saw a crowd of women there, and I go, ladies, hi, I need a favor. Which guy in here is the best dancer? Because I want to learn how to dance. Which one is the most impressive dancer? Like, oh, this guy here. I'm like, okay, what's he doing that you like? And I'm like, okay, do you know how to dance that? She goes, yeah. I go, can you teach me? I'll buy you a drink. She's like, sure. And that's all I did. The worst I can say is no. And I just went to the next table if they said no. But I wasn't hitting on them. I was just seeking knowledge. And if we hit it off, then it pursued and it went to something else. But I went up to random people saying like, hey, how do you dance? I went up to tables of women at bars of like, look, I just got divorced. I need your help. Point to the guy in here who's the best dressed guy, because I want to start getting a new wardrobe. Oh, this guy. I'm like, okay, thank you. For your help, can I buy you a drink? Sure. And then I buy a round of tables, a round of drinks for this table, and I hang out with them.
That magic word of, hey, I just need your help.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh yeah, most people are going to be happy to help someone who's asking for it. And for you to break the ice, and you're not, hey, who do you think? You're not saying, hey, are you a really good dancer? Because you could show me, because you look gorgeous. You're not giving her validation. You're like, why don't you tell me who looks really good out there on the floor? Because that's who I want to emulate, type of thing. And you're probably brilliant. This is absolutely good. This is great stuff. I hope people are taking notes out there.
Please do.
This is great stuff.
Yeah.
Real quick, last question. Looking ahead, what legacy do you hope your work leaves for men and women navigating love, loss, and connection?
Oh my God, that's a very deep question there. I want my legacy. Yeah, that's a really good one, man. I want my legacy to show that, hey, life may not work out the way you want it to, but that doesn't mean life's over. It's just beginning. It's just a chapter in your life. Learn what you can from your failures, as painful as it is. Learn from it. There's always a lesson there. There's something that you can take away and improve upon. Don't replicate those mistakes, and never give up on yourself. Never give up on love. Don't let a previous relationship shelter you from not even giving yourself a chance to find love again. Don't give your ex a satisfaction. You deserve to be happy. We're all human. We've all up and made horrible mistakes. Learn from them and never replicate that, and be a better person for that.
Yes. Take accountability for them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And finally, really, where can people find you if they want to reach out and connect with you?
TikTok has been my primary platform for a while. I'm now shifting over to YouTube, but if you just go to Google and type in Root Advice, you'll see me on Facebook. Moving forward, as of this, I think this taping was at the 10th. This Monday, I'm going to be live on YouTube Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. Central. Where I do a live Q&A. So if you have any questions about how to get over an ex, what post-divorce life is, discovering your normal, call in. I take questions. If you want to book a one-on-one, there's my stand story. You can see it in my descriptions on every platform. But yeah, I'm always live. I'm always putting out content, and that's where you can find me. I'd be more than happy to help you.
Nice. Excellent. Thanks, Rudy. Heartbreak may feel like the end, but as we've heard, it can also be the beginning of clarity, strength, and deeper connection. To our listeners, remember, healing is not a solo journey. Keep building, keep connecting, and keep choosing growth. This has been the Glen Gilbert Connection. Until next time, stay grounded, stay open, and stay connected. Rudy, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate your time.
Thank you.